Hey, welcome back to another Patreon lesson. Today we're going to be talking about a medium-sized multi-mic drum setup. We're continuing on. I did a 1, 2, and 4 mic video lessons, so this is a continuance of that, and you should probably go watch those first if you haven't seen those, just because there may be some things I build on in this from those. But what I mean by a medium multi-mic setup for me is like basically anywhere between 8 to 12 mics. In this specific instance, I had up 11, but I would say it would kind of fall anywhere in between there. You're kind of covering all your close mic bases, but leaving out some of the less important things like a hi-hat mic, a snare bottom, a second snare top mic or something like that. Or any character mics like a trash mic or an extra mono overhead, things like that. So I'll end up doing one more video after this, as a kind of to complete this series that I've been doing on the different amount of mic setups, and that'll be probably anywhere from 14 to 16. And so at this point, when we have this many mics up, I don't see it fitting any specific genre better than another, kind of like I was talking about in some of the smaller 1 and 2 and 4 setups. With when you get to 8 to 12, I feel like you can kind of do any genre. And so with this, I really, just set up the kit and things and the mics and everything how I felt was inspiring at the time. And it wasn't trying to aim for any specific genre or anything. But what I really wanted to focus on most with this lesson is how introducing, room mics into the mix allows you to kind of pick and choose after the fact, after you've recorded your drums, how tight and close, or how roomy and open, or a combination of both you want your drums to sound, but also kind of where they sit in the stereo field, because I had stereo overheads up and I also had stereo room mics, but I also had some mono mics, a mono room mic and a mono kit mic and things. So I'll show you later how combining different variations of those together, muting certain things, unmuting certain things, can kind of create differences. And maybe the close drums sound mono and the rooms and the openness sounds stereo, or vice versa, and all the variants and options you have with that. So I'll go ahead and jump into the playing portion with a little track I made. You're going to hear two of the same thing back to back in terms of the playing. But the first one you'll hear will just be primarily close mics, so the room mics will be muted, and then you'll hear the same clip again with the room mics added in. And then immediately following that, I just took like a first-person video showing you how the kit was set up and tuned, and then all the mics that were up and kind of where they were placed on the kit. And then we'll jump back into the session after that. Alright, so this will be the explanation of the kit for this sound and the mic setup. So we'll start with the kit. Everything's pretty dry and dead. My kick and toms are kind of my normal low dead tuning for this kit. That's kind of what I use this kit for, more of the thuddy kind of sound. And the snare, I've got my 6-lug Ludwig up, and put a little cutout head on top to really like make it super boxy and dry. So that's the snare, tom 1, floor tom, pretty standard, hi-hats, nothing crazy. And then I had stacks basically set up for both of the left and right cymbals. So this is my normal Istanbul 20-inch crash under like an old Meinl that is cracked, or it's keyholed actually. So that's that sound. And then this one is my 24 Istanbul ride with a cracked Dream on top. So So that's the kit. As far as the mic setup, we'll start with the normal stuff. Snare drum mic, basically in the same spot as always, my Telefunken. And then overheads are pretty standard. I've got my pencils, my Telefunken M60s up in a space pair. There may be 3 feet over the cymbals or so, equal distant from the snare. For toms, I got some new stuff, and so I've actually started now putting these little cheap Behringer pencil condensers on toms. I've been running 57s for a long time and tried these, and they do have worse bleed from these cymbals and everything, but I'm usually gating or cleaning tom tracks or both anyways, and so it seems to work well, and I like the amount of body and the more natural sound that these give versus kind of the mid-forward sound of the 57s. So these are just the Behringer C2s. Let's see if I can get an actual shot of you can kind of see if it'll focus. Yeah. Really cheap, like $60 for both of them. Really cheap. But yeah, they sound great on the tom, so that's what I'm running for now. And then I've got my Mojave MA300, which is a tube condenser mic in my knee position. So you can see here it's pointed right down at the snare, right across the kick. And it's in cardioid. It does have a variable pickup selector on the power supply. So there's that. And then the kick mics are pretty standard. I've got a Beta 52 on the inside. I don't know if you can see it in there. It's about halfway in the drum, face towards the beater. And then my Warm Audio 47 Junior in figure 8 on the outside. And you can see the distance there, just a couple inches off or so. And then what's pulling a lot of weight for this sound are the room mics. So I've got my pretty new to me AEA R44 CE, which is kind of their take on the classic RCA 44 ribbon mic. So this is like a massive, it's huge, and it weighs like 8 pounds. So I've got it on this big stand, but you can see it's just out in front of the kit. That's maybe 8 to 10 feet or so, just at about waist height, kind of right above the kick height, right above the top of the kick if it was actually on the kit. Just face straight on, you can see pretty much at the kit. So that's pulling quite a bit of weight. And then, so that's my mono room mic. And then stereo rooms are similar to what I've explained on another video, but I've got 2 Beyer dynamic M160s in another room here. As you can probably even tell by my voice, this is just a dining room, which is sort of acts as like a chamber almost, because it's way more reflective. And so the drums, are here, and they spill over into this room, and then these are faced away and are hypercardioid, so they're only catching really the ambience. And I've got them, kind of in an XY positioning to help with phase, since they're not pointed at the kit or anything, but I can't get them too wide, because if I had this one pointed way this way and this one way this way, this left one would be catching even more ambience from back there in the kitchen, and this one would be closer to the kit. So I've got them as wide as I can feel like I can get them for space and width, but also to feel even on each, left and right. So I think that about covers everything mic-wise and kit setup for the sound. So that's the general overview of, the medium multi-drum mic setup. There's, lots of variety there in terms of getting the drums super mono and close. You could have them real wide and open with everything in between, and then using the duplication and the sample doubling of like a more unique sound to kind of create this new texture within the full drum sound. So I hope it's been helpful for you. Like I said, I'll be doing one more video that's going to involve a few more mics, some that are to bring in more character, and some that are just to get more full spectrum, snare bottom, hi-hat, things like that. So that video will be coming up, and if you've got any questions about this one, as always, just ask me, and if not, I'll see you next time.